Welcome everyone to the first installment of the Podcast of the People. Many of you know me as Capo or Chris, but for those who don't, I wanted to help create a platform for Blacks and people of color out of respect for all my brothers and sisters across the world and right here by my side in the streets that have been empowering my voice. Along with the help of each and every one of you, we will build a platform to share views, stories, tips, and in honor of the day, Black businesses and culture. Before we go any further, I would like to thank each one of you who has positively contributed to the Black Lives Matter movement, and would like to allow another two people who have made all of this possible to introduce themselves. So whoever wants to go first, you guys introduce yourselves.
All right, I'll go. My name is Tyrone Johnson. Basically, I joined this movement that we're starting here today because I want to see change in our cultures. I want to see change in our economies, and I want to see change within our people. There's a lot of controversy that we deal with on a day-to-day basis as, you know, a Black man, let alone, let's just say the Black race in general, people of color. We all deal with some type of controversy, and, you know, we started this movement because we're trying to make a very impactful change on this, obviously. Like, I'm tired of seeing, you know, our own hurting and dealing with, you know, the negative aspects of life on a day-to-day basis, but everybody else is just living good and everything is peaches and cream. Basically, we just want to try and get our perspective out to everybody, you know what I mean, so that we can all come together as people in general and you know, move on, make this better. Like, that's why I'm doing this, so.
What's up, y'all? My name is Jason. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and basically, I just want to help out and do my part. I'm not, like, I haven't been, like, protesting, like, in the streets, but I've seen it all from, like, a digital view, and I've shared, and I've done, like, everything I basically can do from, like, the digital aspect, and basically, I just want to add more to that. So that's mainly the reason why I decided to you know, assist in this, like, podcast right now.
Hey, I think that's a perfect place to start off. Like, a lot of us, like, I know personally, I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. I've been participating actively in the protests, leading protests for the White House, Black Lives Matter marches. But I just want to kind of get the perspective of outside looking in. I know Ty in Pittsburgh, you had kind of a meeting experience so far. So Jason, for a lot of people that are listening, they haven't gotten a chance to, whether it be for COVID reasons, safety reasons, just not a full level of interest or support. If you could give, like, kind of your experience or what it's like to be on the outside looking in, more or less, of that online aspect.
Yeah, basically, so through, like, the online aspect, there's a bunch of different ways that you can go through it. And with it, same thing with like being in person, but, like, when you're digital, it's like you're absorbing everything from every different view. You know what I mean? So, like, when you're in person, it's kind of like one mission, just making sure that you're aware of your surroundings. But when you're digital, you can see what everybody else is posting, what people from LA, how they're going about their protests, how they're going about everything that you see in the news. And then people all the way in New York, people here in Atlanta, people in every other state, every other country, as a matter of fact, like people in the UK, everything. So it's basically, it feels almost like if you imagine, like, how you're driving and you can see through, like, all the windows, that's kind of how it is, versus when you're protesting, it feels like binoculars, if that makes sense. Basically, the main, like, because it's just so much consuming that you're doing. So, like, you're just on the phone all day, or at least I was, and just sharing over and over. I'm like, yo, my stories have never been this much. Like, it's never been this many, like, posts that I've done. So I kind of had to, like, control that to make sure people didn't, like, hesitate when it's like, oh, they click it, they see a bunch of stories and they don't want to click through it. Mind you, I didn't, because I'm like, yo, I need to share this stuff. But, you know, that's kind of like the digital outlook is like, it's like you're not there in person, but you feel like you're there everywhere else, and you're involved in every other way. And for comparison, some of the people that I know personally that are protesting, I see a couple videos from like a POV standpoint, but since they're out there, they don't have the time to share everything else that's happening. Like it's a lot of things that we don't know, but with the power like viewing it digitally, we can know as much as everybody else can know.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's, yeah,
When
I like that aspect too, because it does, like, I've noticed whenever I come home and I'll put up my stories or I'll post, and I'll be like, I'll go back through and I'll be like, wow, like, I didn't realize this is how much I was posting, how much information I'm just myself is feeding to the people. That's why I think it's also good to have another way to organize all the information, which is why we want to give a platform to have Black websites, to have, like, and as you all know, the reason why I'm saying Black so much is this is a Black Lives Matter movement. And until, for those that don't get it, if everyone's at a table and everyone has a plate of food except for one person, and that person says they're hungry and everyone else says they're hungry with a full plate of food, until that person gets a plate, nobody else should feel bad when they say this person needs to eat.
right.
And I think that to have a way of making sure that we have media that isn't censoring our information that we're putting out there, so people can really see what's going on as well. Like just saying, we don't see everything, or it's hard for people to be able to share their videos or get videos out because there's a lot going on, or there might be a little bit here and there. I think that's really important. Ty, I don't know if you want to expand on that at all from the social media aspect.
Yeah. I also want to add, this is kind of like partially another topic, but basically being online, you can see everybody. Like I said a little bit earlier, but when I mean everybody, you can see the people that are for you. You can see the people that are against you. You can see the people that don't post a lot in general. Like they just don't be on social media like that. And so, but like now some people coming like into that world. But like basically over like the past 4 days, I've lost at least like 50 people that like I thought was just like, you know, cool or whatever. And but it's like a lot of people are really just posting things like everything is normal right now. Like it might be normal for them because they might be on like the outskirts, but it's not normal at all for everybody else. And then you have people that only want to make like a certain specific post that will make them, that's like basically like the easiest post that they can make.
Kind of just getting that, like, that approval, but being scared to voice an actual opinion. And that's also another part of the podcast we want to bring people on. We're gonna have feedback sessions with people that are live. We want to get everyone's real views. I think this whole movement has really brought out just the fact that we just need people to pick sides, man. This is a problem that we're not going to convince everybody to be on one side on, but people do need to pick a side. Sitting silently is just enabling. You're doing the same thing as those officers that sat there and watched George Floyd just do. You're doing the exact same thing. So just pick your side. That's all we ask.
It's really like a bystander like effect too, because like
But it's
we
not
get
because it
taught
affects,
that.
it affects all of us. Yeah, it's not just you.
No, I'm
Think you're
saying
passing
no, I'm
it.
saying
Oh, no,
yeah, the
I
bystander.
agree with you.
Yeah, but it's like if you see somebody about to get hurt or whatever, and you just standing there, or you thinking like, oh, somebody else gonna call. It's basically like saying somebody else gonna post
That
about it, or
diffuses
somebody else gonna.
responsibility. Yeah. It's just like when you're out, you
Right.
might be walking with 100 people, and somebody collapses in the mall, and you're like, "Whoa, that was crazy." But like somebody's gonna take care of them. You're driving on the highway, somebody gets in a car accident, you see these stranded. Oh yeah, somebody's gonna take care of them. So you just keep driving. If it was just you on that road, you would have pulled over and been like, "Hey man, you need to call somebody." Like, it's just little stuff like that. Hold yourself accountable. Don't wait for somebody else. That's all. Like, that's exactly what we're doing too. So, Ty, I know you kind of waited a little bit. I know you probably got something to say.
Nah, I mean, y'all was doing good, bro. Y'all was doing good. I ain't want to interrupt, for real. I would say as far as the social media aspect goes, like, it kind of made me mad, to be honest, because, like, you know, as far as my experiences goes with the protesting, like, I was in the middle of working, you know what I mean? And, like, I'm driving through the city or whatever, and it happened that I have to stop somewhere and run downtown or whatever, bro. So I'm, like, literally in the middle of all of this, watching everything happen or whatever, and, like, you know, I support, my thing is that with this whole situation, I support how, you know, us as a culture are going about things, because, you know, we went about it, I feel like, every other route, and it hasn't resulted in anything. And, you know, it's crazy. Like I said to you earlier, it's like Malcolm X was on the same type time, you feel me? And what did the white man do though? They called him an extremist, you feel me? And said that he was like out here basically destroying shit or whatever. And that's not the case at all. Malcolm X was a black activist that was trying to push for us to, you know what I'm saying, as a culture to be better and stronger and just as equal. And that, what happened when, you know what I'm saying, when he started trying to push this positive message, then, you know, the narrative gets flipped. So I'm sitting there or whatever downtown, and I'm watching everything going on and everything, and I'm just like, man, like, the narrative from CNN's view, you know what I'm saying, from the choppers and stuff looking down or whatever, their narrative is that, oh, y'all see this? Like, all these black people are out here going crazy and doing this and doing that or whatever. And, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting this perspective on this that is so falsely, like, accused, like, wrong, you know what I mean? And it's not the case. And when I'm on social media, like, as soon as I got out of there and I made my delivery, bro, and I just got to really, like, sit there and firsthand see everything and watch the chaos, like, anxiety took over, because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yo, like, this is crazy, you know what I mean? But I'm looking at the people that are peacefully protesting, and then there's people that are just in the crowds, you know what I'm saying, of the protesters that are literally destroying shit. So then I go on social media and I'm scrolling and I just see people basically like, just like you guys said, like, some people are really just out there to, you know what I mean, make a post like, bro, this is my issue with social media, is that everything is a trend nowadays. You feel me? Hashtags are trendy. You feel me? Something bad happens, it's a trend. So this video goes viral. It then becomes a trend, right? Which is what we needed for black people, because this happens on a daily basis to us. But like y'all said, there are people that'll sit there, you feel me? Everybody wants to be black until it's really time to be black. So when it's really time to be black and we deal with these oppressive issues, you feel me, as a culture, then others want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, people right now on social media, I feel like, are really just trying to blend in and follow the wave right now, you feel me? But on a realistic, like, standpoint, are they really standing for us? You know what I mean? This is the exact question. This is why social media is kind of like bothering me for because like Jason's right. Like, we get every perspective, every view, you know what I mean? As if we're sitting in a car and can look out every window. But then it's like, you really do get to see, you know what I'm saying? Because
some of those windows, some of those windows got a tint on it though.
You already
got a tint. Yes, sir.
Exactly. So, you know, to the eye on social media, it looks like, oh, they're supporting and they're for this, you know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing a lot of people almost like direct the situation back to them, you know what I mean? In some way, shape, or form, which is crazy, because this whole matter is about what? Us as a black culture being mistreated and misleaded and treated unfairly, like, it, you know what I mean? But for some reason, like, social media has made people literally almost make it about them, and that's why I'm not necessarily happy with it. Like, that's the only part I'm not happy with. As far as everybody, you know, I went on Instagram today, and, you know, everybody's talking about Blackout Tuesday. I kid you not, every single post was black. It was crazy. Like, I scrolled for like 10 minutes just to see if there was going to be something else, and it was not. So that, you know what I mean? That's a step in the right direction, at least, like, just from getting support from others that aren't even, you know, truthfully in this situation, like how we are dealing with it firsthand.
I guess that's a good way to roll into the next topic then.
I mean, I kind of wanted to retouch on that too, because all these times, like, there's an independent journalist that you were saying that the media only shows one side. When I was, I'll get into that later, but for the independent journalists and the people out there, you got to really be careful who you're looking to, who you're feeding this information from. Because, like, Andy No, he's an independent journalist out in Portland. There was a video he posted that had about 30 white people in it, smashing the building, handing each other a crowbar, smashing the door. Not one person of color in the video, not one sign that said Black Lives Matter, not one shirt. But guess what? Black Lives Matter loots store, causes riot. What it is, man, is fear, is control, and it's the same tactics they've been using for us for a while. They just change it around. Like he's saying, it's a challenge, and the little trends and everything that pop up, and people are concerned with sticking out. And it's not about an individual right now. It's about us as a people. Like, I don't want to, like, no offense, unless it's some protest, like musicians and everybody, like, I don't want to hear mixtape. Make some protest music. Do what Nipsey did. Do what Meek did. Like, we all need to step up, take accountability, hold each other accountable too. Like that, when you have those Blackout Tuesday posts, I really appreciate y'all, and that's why, in honor of that, we wanted to do the show today. When you have that, you can edit it. I know a lot of you accidentally use Black Lives Matter hashtag, and that hashtag is mainly used to spread information to protesters, to people that need resources, that are actually trying to find information to help them. And when you have a blackout post, people are scrolling, they can't find anything. So you can use that tag. I have no problem with the blackout post at all. I would prefer it be on your story versus a post. I have no problem with that. But don't block other people's information with the Black Lives Matter hashtag. You can go back. You don't even have to take the picture down. You can go back into Instagram and edit your post and take that out. But we need to organize our social media better, especially those challenges. A suggestion I got from one of my close friends, Robert Tart, he suggested that we try our own challenge, introduce it, and we could call it "This Is Me." And basically, what it could be is every week or every day, just so we can have a story about somebody that's died due to police brutality, or due to racism, or due to that. And it sounds like we just pick one specific case each week or each day, and we just invest our efforts into that, into making sure that case gets done. Because there's been too many times where we have cases like I wrote this one down. I had some names. I'm pretty sure you guys have probably heard of Breonna. Is it Breonna Taylor?
Yeah.
The woman who was shot 8 times in her home when the police had a no-knock search warrant into the wrong apartment, shot her 8 times in her own home. Her boyfriend fired back with a legally owned firearm and was then charged with assault and attempted murder on a police officer. Once again, just like Philando Castile, even when it's exactly what these lobbyists and these people are pushing for gun rights and examples of people defending themselves, the NRA doesn't make a statement. Why? Because we're Black. And I'm sorry, I'm calling a spade a spade. It is what it is. Just like Madden and the 49ers releasing statements of "We stand with you," you're the same people that kicked Kaepernick out for the exact same thing you just did. Madden, as a game, said, "Oh, we're standing with the people." I don't know if everyone knows, Madden 19 censored the soundtrack so that any song referring to Colin Kaepernick or Cap was taken out. Like, we need to share all this, man. Like, all these stories, like we see the posts online about cops like in Chicago or in Baltimore that are literally planting bricks. Like, I know at the White House, they left stuff outside and moved the barricades back the second day. And that's not on the news. What's on the news is the aftermath and when they don't get called out. And like, we just need to have better organization. That's what this is for. So just to clear up that whole Black Lives Matter thing, that's just what I wanted to do with that. So Ty, you kind of drove through, so it does, like Jason was saying, lead into the next topic. If you can give us a perspective of like, from being more direct, like more closer to it, how these groups move and what the different types of groups you see are, because not everybody's really with the movement. You can't think that we can have a group this large without having wolves in sheep clothing. So if you can kind of give us a better perspective on that.
So what you want to know, basically just like detail for detail of what I saw? Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, like I said, bro, when I only went downtown, I kid you not, I only went downtown, what was it? I drove through there 2 or 3 times, but my only personal encounter that happened one time, and like, it's crazy. Like, I'm gonna just explain the story. I'll make it quick, but I'm gonna just explain the story. So basically, like, you know, I'm calling the dude. I find out that the dude is like 2 blocks from me. So I legit have to walk through, you know what I'm saying, or jog through like the entire mosh pit of people, you know what I'm saying, that's going on right now while they're doing this, right? So as I start walking through, bro, the first thing that I see is, you know, all the Black people are there just literally, they protesting, they got their signs and stuff. Everybody is just voicing their word, you know what I'm saying? And I'm walking through, the first street that I hit, I see like, what was it? It was like 3 or 4, you know, I'm not racist, none of us are racist, obviously, but it was 3 or 4 white guys, you know what I'm saying? And I see them climbing on buildings and stuff to get to a higher ground so that they can push stuff off of the building, bro. Like, you know, the big plant flower pots and stuff like that be outside at parks and stuff? Bro, these guys are climbing on buildings. They're tipping this shit over. Glass is breaking all over the streets, bro. They're breaking signs. It was literally, that's where my anxiety came from. Because when I seen the protest, kid you not, everybody that was protesting was on some, you're going to hear my voice and we will be heard. You feel me? Had their signs out to walking in lines and stuff or whatever. And then I just see a bunch of like extremists, like on another type time, as if they were sent out almost to, you know, just destroy our city. Just like you were saying, bro, some things were just left out or whatever. The news doesn't want to copy that. Like, it was crazy. I legit witnessed it. Like, as soon as I got out the car, I see the crowd of people, you know, for blocks and blocks up ahead. And then I look to my left and I see 3 people climbing up a building, knocking shit over, pushing shit on the streets, bro, just trashing it. And it was just like, as soon as I seen that, I immediately felt unsafe, bro, because it's like, you know, everybody that apparently is out there is supposed to be there to support this cause. You feel me? We're all supposed to be there. Even if it's not peacefully, we're supposed to be there together to support this cause. The people that I seen out there trying to tear shit up and really cause chaos are not there to support this cause. They were sent there for a different reason, to make us look like, you know, we're really animals, when we're just sick of the bullshit. You know what I mean? We're sick of being literally put down below others because of the pigment of our skin tone. Like, that is absurd. You feel me? I don't.
Yep, no, absolutely, man. It goes
It
just
makes
that
me mad, bro.
It goes to that argument against white supremacists, saying that they're saying that we're a lower class of people, like what, like literally like even if you want to take a scientific route, I don't know how after 400 years of the worst food, worst living conditions, worst clothes, that we would somehow be weaker. If anything, natural selection would happen and only strong bloodlines would survive. Like you're saying, the animals, Denzel Washington had a great way of explaining it to you. He said, if a wolf comes in and eats a sheep, and the next time it comes in, the wolf comes and tries to jump on the sheep's back, and he kicks it and is killing it in defense, is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? Now, a lot of times with this, just like the wolves and the sheep, that they'll be so afraid of our power and our response. Like you've seen, the president, we were protesting, he has the National Guard outside. He went to a bunker. They are so scared of us retaliating that they want us to remain docile. They make our leaders and the examples docile, just like Gandhi in India, just like MLK. They only want to highlight the ones that are docile and fit their image. I have no problem with those that want to go out, that feel like, hey, just like MLK said in a letter from Birmingham jail, after we tried to these peaceful protests, we tried these sit-ins, we tried these marches, we try to cause direct action. If we continue to do this and we're heard and ignored, you're gonna leave people no option. We have to cause direct action to get change, and it just is. It is what it is. And I have no problem with those that want to go out. If you want to loot and you want to riot, and that's really coming from the genuine place in your heart, and that's what you feel is going to make an impact, go to a federal building, go to a corporation that has a history of not taking care or being inclusive, having misstreamed messages. Like, go to those places. The other people that are doing it, I honestly don't see our own people going out and destroying these businesses and doing this stuff. But what I also encourage you to do is, instead of just saying don't loot these businesses, just like you're trying to go out and protect these people, go protect those businesses. Go protect our homes. Go protect our people. Just like you're saying, you want to say you want to do all this. No one's going to help us but us. We're all we got, clearly. The president is giving statements on the news, deploying the military, arresting over 5,000 protesters that we just know about. Because I know in DC, they lied about the blackout they had. They blocked communications. They left hundreds of protesters stranded. They blocked the city off. People couldn't leave. People were missing. And until we wouldn't even talk about the main issue of why we're rioting, why we're protesting. It's, oh, this has become violent, we're going to deploy this. So he looks like, after feeding us months of chaos, whether it's been coronavirus or whatever it was, which I also just like, this is a side note, has nothing to do with anything. I haven't heard about any spikes of police dying of coronavirus. I haven't seen any officers in DC personally wear a respirator mask, even though they're in these large crowds, they're next to each other, they're serving right next to each other. I haven't heard any of that. I hear nurses, I hear doctors, but not them. But instead of arresting 3 people, which probably this movement probably wouldn't have gained this much traction this fast if they had simply just arrested 3 people and they still failed to mention that they're wrong. When you have an injustice anywhere, it's a threat to justice everywhere. That's MLK's words. When you have 3 bad cops in a system of 5,000 other cops, that becomes 5,003 cops until you hold them responsible. It's an accountability across the board. All these come from being accountable and just taking responsibility. So those of you that really feel like doing that, do that shit with the message. Do that shit with a purpose. If you're gonna go rob the store, put it back into the community, sell it, get the money back. My fault. What are you saying?
No, you're good. You're good. I just it's funny that you said, like, you know, for anybody that's on the type time where they feel like, you know, if you need to go out there and not be violent, but just you feel like you need to go, you know, break some things or whatever to get your point across because you feel that passionate about the situation. It's funny because I just heard this quote yesterday and it was a sermon, you know what I mean, or whatever, but I'm listening to it and the pastor basically starts saying, like, you know, what's wild is that when we start breaking and destroying things, you know what I mean, that's when they want to bring the police force out. That's why they want to try and, you know what I mean, really detain us and make us look like we're animals and then do the most, shoot us with pellet guns, all that stuff, right? When we start breaking stuff because it's their property, you feel me? It's their homes, it's their properties, it's their businesses. You feel me? We don't own anything in this country as Black people, bro. Like,
the insurance
that's
as well.
The biggest thing.
Black people, we don't have insurance. A lot of us don't have insurance policies. We don't have life insurance policies. We don't have other home, auto, property policies. Like, these are all things. And I also want people to realize the U.S. Justice Department made a statement saying the only reason George Floyd's case was a top priority and they asked for his arrest is due to the rioting and looting, due to direct action. Just like Breonna Taylor, her boyfriend's charges were not dropped until 3 weeks after public outrage. Unless we continue to do this and bring attention, it's going to be the same thing. It's insanity.
They're going to keep getting us.
Getting a different result. You're right. Our voices have
Exactly.
been heard clearly. We're in schools, we're in movies, we're in TV shows. It's also funny, I don't know any time that they turn to white celebrities, white actors, white athletes for leadership. These are characters, these are people that we look to as characters, performers that are there to entertain. Like, these aren't people that we should, like, it's hard for me to even name 5 people on TV outside of the news or sports that is influential on TV. You have the Oprahs and the Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry, like, it sells out to a point. Like, there's levels to it. Like, even if you want to go the math and science route, the only one that pops off the top of my head is Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, we need to support each other. We need to support each other in each field. These problems, like Jason's saying, when you see these posts, it gets overwhelming because it's issues across the board. But if you just take whatever your field of focus is or your field of knowledge is and change that field, everyone just does that, we'll be good. We'll be able to cover a lot more ground a lot quicker. This is a marathon, like Nipsey said, but it's piece by piece, and everyone has to take their step.
And it starts with all of us literally just being there supporting each other. Like, I'm so sick of seeing just anybody of color being against each other, bro. Like, you have to think, and we're in America on top of that. Like, think about, you know what I'm saying? What, like, I wish everything could just be equal, you feel me? But it's not right now. So think about realistically what culture or ethnicity group runs America. It's the Caucasian race, you feel me? It shouldn't be like that. It should be equal terms for everybody. But that's not going to happen until us as a culture, us as just colored people stand together and prove to them that, you know, we're getting smarter now. Like, y'all can't just keep trying to keep us quiet and keep on doing what you're doing and expecting nothing to change. Like, if we keep killing each other off as Blacks or whatever, people of color, or, you know, just bringing on hate upon each other, then the white Caucasian man is going to continue to do that because we're not smart enough to finally unite as one and get strong to battle against that. You can't win a battle if you're doing it by yourself.
And just like that too, there's Black people against us. Like, if you in DC, like my personal experiences, I kind of just want to go into what it's been like in Washington because it's the capital. Like, my first day, I was out in front of the White House. They had big lines, everybody up. We had signs, everyone's peacefully protesting. There's a couple throwing water bottles and stuff here and there. You're in riot gear, bulletproof vests, shields, helmets. We're wearing regular masks, street clothes. Like, there's not many people with ballistic helmets and stuff like that. And they're talking about we're harming them. You're firing projectiles that like, I don't even think people understand rubber bullets are meant to be shot at the ground and bounce into people's legs to cause contusions and hematoma and stuff like that. What they're doing is firing these things point blank range. And I kind of wanted to give perspective on why I've been releasing the videos I have and to kind of give a background. Like you're saying, there's people defending them. There's a girl I'm arguing with, explaining to her that she's saying he's not bad, he's with us. He can protest with us. I'm trying to explain to you. Police officers do not have to take their badge off to protest with us. In Norfolk, Virginia, which is a predominantly black area, the head of police, the police chief, led a march with a Black Lives Matter sign in full uniform, and lobbyists asked him to resign. Once again, it was the Republican Party, but just like Donald Trump, the military and the police, it doesn't matter who the individual is, it's the system they stand behind. When you have these black people in the military, when you have black people in the police, they give you you have a sense of inclusion because you're in a different group. When you say Blue Lives or the Marine Corps, like when you have a name like that and you separate yourself and you're given a power, these people, it's coronavirus. They're still giving you a pension. They're making sure you're safe. They're making sure your family's good. They keep you just comfortable enough that I'm good. Like, yeah, there's people dying, but like, I know, like, I'll be able to protect myself. Like, we can't, it's not about being comfortable. Unless everyone's comfortable, it's the same thing. Like, you can't do it. And my first day, I had to call out the media. I called out, it was Channel 4. And what had happened was they basically shot tear gas into the crowd, and we threw it back, burnt, like, and we're gonna get into tips later for safe protesting and those that still want to go out and protest and those that have been protesting. But we threw the tear gas back, and I can hear the reporter behind us. It seems that the protesters are launching fireworks and flares and tear gas at the officers. And I'm like, man, we're just returning fire. I called it, and the next day I have to call out the media. I get the only reporters that I see up in the front with me are reporters from Canada, reporters from Spain, reporters from other countries. That a lot of these countries censor stuff. When I did that, they moved the line up. So then we had a couple people push. I'm standing there with my sign saying, like, basically, like, telling them what's going on. People are backing up, people are scared. And when you do that, if you're really on the front line, like, endangering people, when you turn around and you run, you're not doing that. Like, walk. They can't take all your, like, running is like, they're not gonna run at you. The police can only move so fast like that as a walk. So walk and be careful. But staying in front, somebody asked me, what does my sign say? The moment I turn left, my whole right side of my body gets warm. I'm hit with about 8 of these small pepper spray and like tear gas little paintball looking things. I stopped, used my sign to block it, continued to shoot me. I caught one, saved that side of my house. These people are firing these things and doing these things to us to instigate us and to start these problems. Like, the second day, we led a Black Lives March throughout DC. We started by New York Avenue, went down, took a knee in front of Trump Hotel, which is also, while all DC hotels are closed, his is the only hotel being protected by police and National Guard. Just want to throw that out there. Then we walked down the National Mall, take a knee. Then we walked to the White House and protest again. Once we're at the White House, there's senators, there's other people there, everyone's going crazy. And just to show people that they don't need, like, when you give the media the chance to sit in the back, I have a video, I don't know if I can share it on here, but I'll share it on the Instagram Live when we do that tomorrow. I basically called out the media. I made everyone stop. We had everyone take a knee for about a good 10 minutes in front of the White House. We had a good 500 people. I know LeBron reposted it. A lot of people didn't get to see that in the news though. And basically, after doing that, everyone gave me kind of a minute to allow me to speak and to voice my voice itself. And I wanted them to call out the media. Look, they're waiting in the back. They're waiting for us to give them a reason to get a story, because they're still, just like everybody else, they're trying to do their job. They want to make money. That's how they make money, selling that mayhem, selling that fear, selling that chaos. And if we were all to sit down for another 10 minutes and not throw anything, and the police continue to come through with tear gas and other stuff, it's undeniable. They are killing us for no reason. We don't need to give them any extra reason. When we do this, like, we don't need to give them any other reason. We just need to be smart about our approach and be careful.
Hey, check this out. Just to touch on what you're talking about. So I got information. What was it? You know, I got some friends or whatever that are out of the country and stuff. A friend of mine actually lives in UK right now, and they're saying that from the perspective that they're seeing about America, like on the news and stuff out there in UK, it's basically total opposite of, you know, the stuff that that is being reported off of our news here. You feel me? So basically our news is reporting like these people are going crazy, you know what I mean? They're rioting, they're doing this and doing that. But in the UK, apparently they're reporting like, you know, America's justice system right now is it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Basically, but in a pretty nice way. So if other countries are out here, you know what I'm saying, calling out America or, you know, the injustice that happens to us as colored people on a day-to-day basis, then why are we not, you know what I mean, especially of the colored people in this country, why are we not, you know what I mean, taking a like, obviously this is the, you know what I mean, this is the platform to take that stand.
Absolutely.
You said what?
People want to say that this is the greatest country or whatever, and if it is truly, in fact, the greatest country, like you say, you should want to criticize it the most to hold itself to the highest standard. And we're nowhere near that.
Exactly.
Protesters that were running around, like those people that came in, there was actually a group in front of the White House, somebody lit a fire in a trash can, and protesters put it out, saying, what are you doing? Do that on the other side where people are going crazy. Over here, we've been spending hours peacefully to avoid stuff like this. When that happened, a whole group of people got mixed up, right? And in the midst of it, 2 children were separated from their parents who had nothing to do with the protest, were literally just trying to get home. So what I did was, I just took action, climbed up on the light post, climbed up on the street sign, told everyone, hey, listen, like, there's 2 kids missing, mic check, like, find these 2 kids. And then magically, once they had some kind of voice and some kind of organization, they found those kids within seconds. They found those kids, like, on the complete other side, they found them within minutes. When we have, they do that. They come in, they try to cause mayhem, disorder, that's how they win. They pick us off, they separate us. Like, a lot of these stories aren't getting out, especially in DC. Like, if it weren't for an ex-gay veteran, I wouldn't have made it out DC. There were, after I had given my last little hurrah, my last little speech, the National Guard shined lights on me. Officers were moving up towards me. He put himself right in front of me, protected me and my friend, got us to his car, drove us to our car, and then helped us get out of DC. The following, last night, that was 2 nights ago. Last night, unfortunately for a lot of people, it wasn't the same. Once they enacted this curfew, they stirred up a lot of people. I know there's one that's popular on Twitter that I want to gain a little bit more traction, is on Swan Street. And what happened is you had 100 protesters surrounded by cops on 3 sides. And they basically forced them and started macing them, tear gassing them. Just like the day before when we had marched past the White House, that video of the kid right in front of me, after I throw the first tear gas can back, the kid right next to me gets hit in the head directly about 10 feet away and just drops. I pick him up, pick his phone up, bring him to the side, and everyone starts stampeding. And if me and somebody else didn't get to him in those 3 seconds, he would have been stomped out and have been dead. They stir us up. They have there's all this confusion, and they did all of that just to block us from meeting with the other half of the march. So once again, inhibit our Second Amendment right to assembly, or for Second Amendment. You know, it's a little caught up right now, but you know what I'm saying. So that same group, luckily on Swan Street, those 100 protesters that got surrounded and maced and tear gas, there were loving souls that were willing to let them in. The white man let them into their house. They were waiting in there for hours. They were trapped in there all night. Now, halfway through the night, the police had made up a story saying that somebody called them to come get them out because they were in critical medical condition. Everyone is there recording, saying, no, nobody called you, you're making this up. The only thing we've asked for is to send food, and you don't allow Uber Eats, you don't allow any delivery, you don't allow any of these services in. They maced through the door, just like in Richmond when they're spraying in people's windows, and they tried to rush them. They shut the door. They waited out all night. They had to wait till the morning to even be able to go home safe. The next day, we get a new update for a new DC curfew. As of 7 o'clock tonight, unless you were participating in their election up until 7, after 7 o'clock, the media isn't even allowed to be outside. What are you hiding from? What are you hiding? If you're really shutting shit down, you're really doing things the right way, and you call the National Guard and you're doing it that way, you should have no problem with being watched and how you follow and execute. If you're that systematic about it across the board, but it's not. So I think kind of just like to try to keep this short. It's our first episode, and just want to give people the chance to really participate and do all this and to make their voices heard. Jason, I know you probably saw some different tips that I didn't get to see just because I just learned these tips from being firsthand out there. I don't know if there's any tips you want to give to protesters to practice safe protesting.
Yeah, I give like, wait, say that one more time.
Are there
to
any
who?
tips you got? Like, I know there's people that are still going to be out here that want to protest, that want to do this, and just kind of steps to take precautions and to make sure that we can take preemptive measures.
Yeah, so basically the most helpful thing that I've done is just following your gut, like all the time, basically. Like I've had people who tell me, it was like, you go out there, be safe, don't go out there. And basically that's mainly it, because they know, they care about my like safety and everything. And well, basically the reason, or one of the main reasons I can, is because like I heard that like they're like closing off like exits and stuff, and I don't live directly in it. Like I live like a good minute away. Like I live like 30 or more minutes away, depending on like traffic and stuff like that. So
a city like that, yeah, it leaves you stranded. Yeah. Uber isn't available.
Bro, where am I going to park? Where I park at? Nobody talks about parking during protests, bro.
And then
so I'm like,
you parking too close, your stuff might get destroyed. It's
right.
A lot. I know at least
so
for like,
yeah. So mainly like this just goes like for everybody. It's like, and I've been like kind of preaching this like on my own platform, but seriously, take care of your mental health, because if you don't, you can't think straight. It was times where just in the past like 5 weeks where like I felt like I had a hole in my chest and a hole in my heart. I mean, that's the same thing. Hole in my head. And the only color that I could feel was gray, if that makes sense. Because it's like, you know how you can like feel different colors. Mine was, yeah.
That's a big problem. That's a big
like,
problem in our community, man. We've been oppressed so long that we've been held down that a lot of us don't, especially Black men, we're taught to be hard through everything, like, because we have to. We have to, that's the only way we can survive. And it's going to be hard to get over that. Not only all those traumas and stigmas of the history, but to deal with a new lifestyle, trying to change that.
Yeah, so like 100% be careful what you consume. What I do now is I'm starting to wake up like a lot earlier, but I do like first like 30 minutes or so in the morning, I just don't even touch my phone. Like if I set an alarm, I just cut it off. Or even if I don't have an alarm, I just wake up and I stretch, I drink water, and like I brush my teeth and stuff, like kind of like normal almost. And then of course like I'll eat if I decide to eat. And then depending on like how I'm feeling, I might watch like, I don't know, the Proud Family, something to like drawing like some positivity, you know what I'm saying? But like so like yeah, in the morning,
support Black TV shows too, man. Like we don't have a lot.
Yeah, so like in the morning, just give yourself some sort of time. Also, like whenever you eat meals, because then you're consuming two things, and it's weird. It's weird to say out loud, but like your energies, they'll get mixed up. Like
no, I mean, physically, you are what you eat.
Eating physically and eating mentally. Those two will get mixed up, and then it'll be like you can't, like your brain won't know what's going on. So like I also just put it down like when I'm eating too, and I feel so much more relaxed when I go upstairs or when I go into the room where like my phone is. I just feel like a little more refreshed, because truth be told, unless something crazy happens, the content is not really going nowhere. So you'll get back to it and you'll see it. And
no one's going anywhere, man. No one's going anywhere.
And lastly, at night. My friend, he said this on his platform. Just be careful. Don't watch it at night either. Like right before you sleep. I'm guilty of it. We probably all are. But shoot, last night was crazy. But yeah, just like don't consume it before you go to sleep, because then that's literally on your head. Like if you ever like
It creeps into your subconscious. Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
You have your working
like
brain, like yeah, the different processes. Exactly, yeah.
right.
You're not like the
And
working
then
brain.
if your brain is like not shut down, but like partially like shut off while you're sleeping and you're dreaming, that could creep into your dreams. Or for example, let's say you talking to somebody, right? And if you go to sleep thinking about them, you're gonna wake up thinking about them. Who wants to wake up to all of this stuff? Yeah, we all going through it. But I'm saying like if you have the luxury of being at home during times like this, if you have the luxury of still being with family and the luxury of still being able to contact people and talk to people and even reach out to them, you can't, like, you got to make sure, you got to manage it all and make sure that you don't, just make sure that you balance yourself between the negative and the positive. Because even if you want to help people, and I want to help people, you can't give water to, like, if you got a cup and there's no water in it, you can't uh give water to somebody that's thirsty. You know what I'm saying? Like people, they'll be like you gotta make sure your cup is full before you can give water to somebody. But if you don't got nothing in that cup, then both of y'all just thirsty, and what you gonna do?
Exactly, man.
But
Tired of
yeah, like
listening.
that's my main thing. Is just making sure
Motivation.
that you're taking care of yourself, and it's a right way. It's definitely a right way to do it. It's a right way to do it, and yeah, just like make sure that you still practice like self-love and stuff like that, and you can stay informed and you can do all that. But if you ever had, I don't know, I'm gonna use the word luxury again, but if you ever had like the luxury of someone even saying to you, hey, if you need someone to talk to, let me know. And
Just like that, yeah, just like the traumas of black men having to be hard, we gotta check up on each other too. It's hard. It feels
yeah,
weird sometimes going out of your way for somebody you may not expect it back for. But yeah, I know a lot of y'all probably watching are Christian and you're worried about people. And Jesus only had 12 followers, and they still turned on him. And he died for all of us. Like, do good for goodness sake, because that's what's going to change the world. You can't expect good back, because that deal is what has caused all this. That selling out and that bargaining and stuff like that. We have a purpose. We're doing something big, man. We're starting to change. So for all of y'all that are protesting out there, I got some actual some defense kind of tips for you when you're going out. If you have protective eyewear, make sure it's durable. Wear goggles if you have them. Some goggles work fine. If you're wearing a mask or a cloth, make sure that you wet it with water, because the way the tear gas and stuff works, it'll creep in and it'll get stuck in there. So when you wet your mask, it makes it harder for it to get through. And if you start experiencing coughing like that because it gets to you, don't freak out. It's an irritant. That's the whole point of it. So breathe slow, cough, spit, mainly spit. Don't cough as much because that's going to cause you to hyperventilate. But spit it out. Water, baking soda, and there's one more. Make sure you can look it up. I believe it's just salt, but it's really good for the effects of it because it has dry chemicals in it too, just like those pellets that will not only mark you as a protester, but that same white material that dries on your skin will burn. So a lot of you guys out there wear lotions, cocoa butter. I know I do, Vaseline, stuff like that. It'll help it stick onto you. So bring an extra cloth, bring extra mask, bring change of clothes, because that stuff will stay on you. It will stay on you. For as far as the tear gas itself, for those of you that just like think like me in the moment, that think to go pick it up and just throw it back, just know it will burn your hand. What we advise you to do is get a bucket, get a traffic cone. A lot of the protests and where they have giant traffic cones to block it off. Drop it over top. Drop it over top of it, so that way it can't spread. Other than that, honestly, just making sure that you're mindful of who's around you. making sure that you realize that when you turn around and you freak out like that and you cause you to run, I know personally a lot of us, the kind of thing you learn growing up is you see everybody running one way, you're going to run that way too. And when you do that, people that are slower, people that can't see what you're seeing, they have no idea what's behind you. A lot of us can't see over 2 rows in these protests. You put other people in danger, just like these soccer games, these football games where people get trampled and people get lost and people get split up. Just move as a unit. We're supposed to hold that line, hold each other accountable. So hold each other accountable for keeping each other safe as well. When you're going to these protests, make sure that you change your clothes, especially if you do have a message. Change your hair, change your hat. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but did you guys see what was on the last iPhone update? Just like the National Guard cameras, the new iPhone update is now able to use facial recognition even when you have a mask on. So all y'all that do have a voice out there, be careful because they will try to pick you off. They will try to separate you. But other than that, I think I covered the actual aspect of that for the most part. Just like Jason was saying, that taking care of yourself on the other side of it. I had to shut my phone off. Just turn my phone off at night, stretch, do yoga, meditate, whatever it is, get your mind off of it, exercise. But also make sure you eat. A lot of times with anxiety and stuff, we tend, with all these protests, you'll be out there all day. Make sure you're bringing food. Make sure you're getting enough electrolytes and sodium, stuff like that. Because without it, you're gonna feel off. It's gonna throw off the balances in your body. You're not gonna be able to support yourself. And like just saying, if you can't help yourself, you can't help anybody else. So just stay safe. Stay safe because they're not protecting us.
And try to get
All right, y'all.
What?
I think he might be cutting in and out, but I don't know if there's anything else, Ty, you wanna get to the people, finish out before we introduce what are kind of next steps for the next episode for people.
I would just say let's try to, help one another and love one another, bro. That's what I'm all about, positivity and blessings, you know what I mean, and push it forward. Like, that's how I believe in good karma strongly. So, I believe in karma in general. If you put negative into the world, and then it's going to come back on you. If you put positive in, then, positive comes back. So,
absolutely,
let's just capitalize.
And it's just like the old saying, a lot of us, I know, Ty, you play basketball, everyone's seen Coach Carter for the most part that play basketball, but I may not know a great quote is, we are all meant to shine like children do. Like, there's nothing profound about like basically putting your light out so that way others feel secure around themselves. Make people uncomfortable. That's what causes change. The comfort zone is where everything goes to die. When you do that and you step up and you decide to spread that light, you subconsciously give other people the feeling to do the same. I know a lot of these people, just like we're saying with these challenges and stuff, wouldn't think to do half of this, wouldn't think to create this. Like, firstly, if it wasn't for all the people at the protest telling me that I have a voice, I can be able to do this, I wouldn't have proposed this idea. I know you had your own little idea for this, but like I know I wouldn't be here personally. So don't be afraid. Take chances. Even if you fail, it's not failing. You're getting experience to then go back and try. So I just want take care of each other. Take care of your families. Take care of yourself. For the next episode, we're gonna have the links in the descriptions to our Instagram, to the email. We want artwork sent in for backgrounds. We're also having a logo contest. So, and we kind of want it to be a little bit of a theme. So, whatever logo you guys come up with, we want it kind of more like a grayscale background with black lettering. The podcast of the people. Do whatever you want with it. Go crazy. The 5 we like, or whatever, however many we like, we're gonna do a poll. We're gonna have people vote. This is for you guys. So send in. If you're an artist, send in those protest songs. Send in an outro song for us. We'll shout you out every week. We're gonna change it because we want to bring people on. We're gonna bring people on. I know personally, I know a woman. She owns her own black record label. Was willing to come on and help us out. One of the coaches that helped me, we run a nonprofit basketball team for the youth in the DMV, is one to come on. A black clothing line in DC is one to come on. So we want to give you all the platform to really do this and to expand in every category and we can support ourselves. If we had more people that knew that Ray J and Jeezy had prepaid smartphones and stuff like that, they wouldn't go to these Crickets, these little Apples and stuff. And we'd we hit their pockets. We got to make sure we're felt rather than heard. So that's our challenge to all of you guys. Submit those. We'll get them back to you. Stay tuned tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we're going to have an Instagram Live so we can get some feedback for you guys, suggestions, hear your views on everything we've talked about. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for helping me out with this, man. Like, you guys are amazing. Love you.
No, for sure.
So,
All right.
Deuces.
Podcast of the People, episode 1, signing out. Thank you guys.